On August 5th of last year, 2012, a white supremacist walked into the Sikh Temple in Oak Creek, Wisconsin and murdered 6 people because of the color of their skin, because they wore turbans, because he had driven himself so miserable by practicing hate and violence that nothing but homicide followed by suicide seemed to make sense. One of those people murdered was Pardeep's father, Fernwood S2U. I am a former white supremacist. In the late 80s and early 90s, for 7 years of my life, I was involved in hate groups. I was a recruiter. I attacked people. I was a lead singer in a hate rock band. I caused a lot of harm back then. But looking at what happened in Oak Creek, and looking back at my life, I feel so fortunate that I was able to turn my life around because of kindness that was shown to me by people who I was openly hostile to. There were black people, Jewish people, Latino people, gay people, who treated me as a human being when I refused to acknowledge their humanity. And these acts of kindness planted seeds that made it more and more difficult for me to keep practicing the kind of hate and violence necessary to hurt people. So in gratitude for those acts of kindness, and to honor Satwat Singh Kaleka and the 5 other lives lost on August 5th of last year, and all lives lost to violence and hatred worldwide, Pardeep and I and everyone else that served to unite, and all of the amazing students at Fernwood Montessori who helped us this semester pilot the Serve to Unite student groups, have created an ongoing response of fearless compassion to the kind of senseless aggression that led to August 5th. Now, over the course of my journey, I've come to realize a very simple truth that I'd like to share with these amazing graduates of Fernwood Montessori. And I share this more as a comparing of notes, because after working with these amazing students for the past couple months, I know that they understand this, and they understand a lot of other very profound, simple truths. And Pardeep and I have learned as much from them as they may have learned from us. But the simple truth that I have in mind right now is simply that we find what we seek in life. So it's very important to be mindful of what we look for. When I was a white supremacist, I sought reasons to hate people. I sought reasons to be angry. I sought reasons to be fearful. And I found them everywhere I looked. Fortunately today, thanks to amazing people like Pardeep Kaleka, thanks to the amazing people who treated me with kindness when I especially didn't deserve it, thanks to all of the amazing students at Fernwood Montessori and all the amazing staff that we've been so honored to work with, I now understand that I can also find compassion everywhere I look for it. I can find patience and courage and strength and honor, kindness and love everywhere I choose to look for it. So every day I try to be mindful and grateful for that gift to be able to make that choice. And I celebrate that gratitude with Fernwood Montessori. Thank you all so much. You guys are absolutely amazing. I love all of you. And I want to
Last year, August 5th, was a very low point for me personally in our community. That day, I'm going to share a small little story about that day. I'm sure a lot of people have heard a lot of things about that day. But that day, me, my daughter, my husband, my daughter, my son, who's kind of like my husband, we were driving to the temple that day, Sunday school, and I'm going to drop them off, normal day. As we approach the intersection of Howell and Lawson, we get this news. And that day, you know, it just further and further got worse and worse and worse and worse. That day, a glimmer of hope came out of tragedy. That day, I heard a story, and the story was from two kids who were inside the temple. And this is why I never underestimate the power of youth. I never underestimate the power of, you know, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds. I never underestimate the power of the kids that you have. Two kids that were outside the temple at the time heard the shooting when it was going off at first. They ran inside the temple. They warned everybody and basically found cover. After everything had gone, they were the first two kids to summon up the courage to be able to come out of their hiding spots and go try to look for survivors before anybody had gotten into the place. These two kids said to me that, you know, I saw your dad, and your dad was, you know, alive. I said, what was my dad doing? I said, your dad was praying. And I said, my dad, he was praying, what was he saying? And he said that he was saying Vaheguru, which is a calling that he was just calling for peace. And at first I said, well, you know, okay, that makes sense that somebody that's passing and knows that they're passing might be saying that and praying. And at first I thought maybe, you know, he might be praying for himself. And as I began to think more, I said, you know, I know my dad. He's not going to pray for himself. He prayed not for himself, he prayed for the world. He knew what had happened, and he knew the reasons why it happened. And I think we all kind of know those reasons. That prayer was answered by the students in this building, by your 7th and 8th graders. That was part of Serve Team Night. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, but your children are a true inspiration to us. And I just hope you realize how special they are. Thank you.